Well, he's only gone and done it. After the traditional Molyneux roller coaster ride, taking us from the giddy peaks of optimism down to the brow-furrowing pits of paranoia and back up again, we have just one thing to say to Peter. Relax, mate. Fable II has just secured Eurogamer's greatest prize. Nope, not a free Better Than Halo t-shirt, but a stirring 10 out of 10 in its review, which, of course, makes it officially better than Halo anyway. Fact. And that's even better than what Pete gave it in his own review. Fable II is the latest triumph in a career spanning over 3 decades. And if his games haven't always quite lived up to their creators' great expectations, Molyneux could never be accused of taking the easy option. So, to celebrate the release of this landmark title, we've had a dig around in the Eurogamer vault and, hidden beneath the rotting corpses of banned forumites, uncovered a never-before-seen interview with the Lionhead boss and, let's be honest, national treasure, where he talks about his life in games and answers some of your questions.
I've been angry in the past and I've shouted at people in the past and I've always regretted it, and I've always regretted it for years afterwards. And I much prefer the approach of trying to be calm and trying to be enthusiastic and trying to show people the light rather than show people the dark. Emotionally, you want to go, no, just shut up, just let me have this idea. And you really want to do that. You really want the shortcut. But there isn't shortcuts. And it is always better to try and listen to people. It is very tempting to get all the data and look at it and say we've got 13.5 million gamers that like first-person shooters and 6.5 that like sports games. And then you can look at countless focus groups about, people like short swords and big swords and bows and arrows, and you can completely confuse yourself as a designer. It's too much input, there's too much noise there, and you ending up sort of directing a game solely based upon research that other people have given you, I don't think ever works. Because in the end, you have to design, as a designer, you have to design for yourself. If you don't like the idea, there's no way you're going to be able to enthuse about it and get other people passionate about it. What is the point in developing a game unless you truly believe that you could strive for something to be the best that it could possibly be? We are, at Lionhead, striving to make Fable II the best role-playing game there has ever been. In the early days, it was a real problem. If I ever had to do pitches or if I had to do design documents, I just didn't do them, to be honest with you. And that was a real problem. And there was many pitches that we failed at Bullfrog and Lionhead, which didn't go well because I couldn't communicate well enough on paper. It is a struggle, being dyslexic, and being in a job that you have to communicate. Well, the advice I give you is just get to the core of the idea. It doesn't matter that the English or the grammar's bad. If you've got those exciting ideas that can be summarised really smallly, who cares that you miss out semicolons and commas? There are 3 basic skills of a designer, and one of those skills is knowing when to push, and knowing when to say to the team and to, publishers and even to the press, no, this feature is going to be great. And the counter to that is sometimes you have to turn around and say, you know what, they're right. It's not working. It's not going to work. And when you do that, when you pull back and when you push forward is a very difficult thing. I've dropped hundreds of features, but I've also incorrectly kept hundreds of features. One thing I'm incredibly guilty of, and it's so stupid of me to be like this, is to be very protective about my features. And you end up with I think you could look back at games like Black and White and even the movies, and even before that, Dungeon Keeper, and you can say, well, there's just too much stuff in there to be a really good designer. Is not to have the toy chest full of toys, but just to have a few toys which are really special and unique, and just to squeeze the most out of those unique things. Technically, it would be reasonably simple to do a lot of times if enough people got interested in it. So I would say for the older games, that's Dungeon Keeper and before, Electronic Arts, for anything that's developed at Lionhead, we would do it. I mean, you know, one day I'm sure we'll be releasing black and white online, which would be great. I'd love to do another version of Populous. I'd love to do that. I'd love to do another version. Well, I'd love to do another version of all of them, really. But I suppose in order of I'd love to do's, it would be Populous, Syndicate, probably Powermonger, and then the bottom of the list would be Magic Carpet Theme Park.
Who will you become? Fable II.
Thank you.